First, he was a sexist, then a racist, then a Nazi, literally Hitler reborn. Now he's a traitor to his country. The left has run out of possible verbal attacks on President Trump. There are none left. All that's left is violence, and some on the left appear to be encouraging that. Progressives have graduated from rhetoric to physical action. For example, congressional candidate Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is calling on progressives to occupy airports and ICE offices to shut down immigration enforcement and keep people from doing their jobs, and people from flying on airplanes, for that matter. Former Hillary Clinton aide Philippe Reines, who was just in our previous segment, has brought air horns to the White House in an attempt to keep the president and his family from sleeping. Congresswoman Maxine Waters of Los Angeles wants Trump administration officials harassed whenever they dare go out into public. And plenty of regular people seem to be on board with that. That shouldn't surprise you. They have been told for months by the press and by progressive leaders that the president is a Nazi secret agent working for our greatest enemy, Vladimir Putin. If you really believed that, what wouldn't you do? Why wouldn't you use violence to save your country? You probably would. Things might get worse from here. The weather is getting hotter. We've got 6 weeks to go until September. The midterms are getting closer. Harassment and occupation could easily turn into something far worse. You know what we're talking about. People are being primed for that. And the left is recklessly egging it on. And they're not even doing it on behalf of the interests of Americans, but literally for the sake of foreigners. The Montenegrins you must be ready to die for some reason. The illegal immigrants who apparently now have a God-given right to enter this country. Nobody on the left is occupying Purdue Pharma to protest the opioid epidemic. The tens of thousands of people killed by opioids last year were mostly born in America. They don't help big business or get Democrats elected, so they don't matter. Congressman Eric Swalwell represents California, and he joins us tonight. Congressman, what's the penalty for treason?
Tucker, good evening. You know, the penalty that we are all paying right now for the president's treason is we are losing our allies. We see a wrecking ball threatening our freedoms here at home. And by the president's own definition of treason, Tucker, let's just use that.
What's your definition of treason?
Betrayal of the American people.
But yep. Treason's a capital offense.
Why doesn't his definition matter? He's the president. He said that Democrats committed treason when we didn't.
Congress.
I'm telling you, he's the president. He said Democrats committed treason when we didn't stand up for him at the State of the Union. His conduct in Helsinki was beyond that.
Is treason. So treason is punishable by death. It's an actual crime, and I think you're an attorney. You would know that. So when you tell your constituents that the President of the United States has committed a death penalty offense, are you concerned that maybe, just possibly, you're torquing up the rhetoric past the point of reasonable conversation?
No, I'm saying that the president, by his own definition,
don't blame the president. Don't blame.
Oh, he has a lot to be blamed for.
It's not your job to take the president's definitions. You're an elected official. Hold on, slow down. I want to know what you think. If I just interviewed Trump, if I want to know what he thinks, I'll ask him. I want to know what you think. You're accusing the president of a capital offense. Why wouldn't it be more useful for the rest of us to explain specifically the policies that you disagree with, and we could have a debate on them? If you think the United States has an obligation to defend NATO members, tell us why. Instead, he's a treasonous Nazi. You think that's helpful?
Oh, I didn't call him a Nazi, Tucker, but why don't you have a problem that the President of the United States wants to turn over an innocent U.S. ambassador to the Russians? Don't you have a problem? Like, do we draw a line somewhere? Do we want to hear the transcript?
I have a problem with a lot of things the president has said. But I'm asking you, who is one of the people accusing the president of treason, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the kind of rhetoric, again, as an elected official, that you think spurs thoughtful, constructive conversation that brings the country together, or does it whip the morons into a frenzy and increase the likelihood of violence? Well, honestly, give me a real answer.
Yeah, I think this is a beautiful country that has always added freedoms, and we have a wrecking ball president right now.
Don't give me the stupid talking points.
No, he's working.
So, like, why are you doing this?
He's working with an enemy, Tucker.
Okay,
Tucker, you may not like the answer. You may not like the answer, but
no, but it's just dumb. I mean, working with an enemy, Russia's our enemy.
What's dumb is that
really. So every president who met with Russia is committing treason.
president who went over to Helsinki, had a private meeting, agreed to turn over a U.S. ambassador to an enemy, and sided with them over our own intelligence committee. At what point do you draw a line and say, that's not a U.S. president, that's just the prime minister of Russia defending the president of Russia? At what point do you say that?
So you think that the president is more loyal to Russia than the United? I mean, I guess I would just remind you that you're a member of Congress. You're not supposed to talk like a child or make reckless accusations or say things you don't understand or encourage people to commit violence. No, I'm just shocked that you're talking like this. I mean, you don't like the president because you think he's irresponsible.
Do you want him to be led by somebody who is siding with the Russians over the United States?
Settle down, son. I'm older than you are. Don't call into question my love of the country, please. Come on now.
Tucker, please.
Let's have a conversation.
Private conversation with a dictator. Agreed to turn over a U.S. ambassador. Sided with them over our own intelligence community.
Let's just stop for 1 second.
Yeah.
You think it is treasonous for an American president to meet privately with the head of state who we don't get along with. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's a betrayal of the United States to side with Russia over our own intelligence community, to agree to turn over a U.S. ambassador to Russia who is innocent, knowing what the fate of that
let me ask you this. Should the president meet with the leader of China? Obviously, a dictatorship kills its political enemies, practices censorship, actually has a great deal of censorship it inflicts on American companies. Should he meet with the Chinese premier, or would that be treason as well?
If we're going to get something out of it, we didn't get anything out of it.
Hold on. So you're saying it is okay because a lot of your constituents get money from China, as we know. I mean, you represent the Bay Area. China pumps a lot of money into.
Don't insult the Bay Area.
I'm not insulting the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I'm noting a fact, which is China makes a lot of your constituents rich. China is a more repressive country than Russia. Russia doesn't censor the internet the way that China does. Yeah. I mean, let's just be real. You don't have any problem with that at all, do you? All the freedom stuff doesn't mean squat to you, does it?
No, let's focus on the country that attacked us and the president who met with that dictator right after those indictments came down.
What about the Saudis? Are you cool with us meeting with the Saudis? They behead people, they kill gays. You okay with that? They don't let women drive up until recently. Yeah. That's okay with you, though,
Tucker, I think I see why you want to distract from the president and what he did yesterday.
I'm trying to know what the rules are here.
Tucker, tell me why you're okay with it. Tell me why you're okay with what the president did yesterday, because I don't understand why you are.
Meeting with Putin? Because Putin is one of the most powerful leaders in the world militarily.
Are you okay with what he said, that he sided with Putin? Are you okay with that?
He is skeptical of American intelligence reports that don't explain their conclusions.
Don't give me the talking points, Tucker.
Were you okay with him? That's how I feel
siding with Russia? Were you okay with him siding
with Russia? I'm never okay with an American official siding with the foreign government over our own.
Are you okay with him turning a U.S. ambassador over to Russia?
I am okay with American leaders meeting with heads of state we disagree with.
Are you okay with him turning a U.S. ambassador?
Being a traitor if you met with the Saudis or the Chinese or indeed with Putin. I would like to interview Putin. Does that make me a traitor?
What about turning over Ambassador McFaul to the Russians? What do you think about that? They didn't deny that today at the press conference. That is so disturbing. Do you have an opinion on that?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It sounds like you don't.
We've kind of run out of time for DNC talking points, but I would urge you to stop using the term treason because I think it's mindless, and I also think
I'm using the president's definition, just the president's definition.
Well,